Hello, I'm Ramaya Miles, and welcome to Dateline. Well, no, Mothers Who Murder. That is my topic for my project, Pitch Perfect. I chose to talk about Mothers Who Murder. The two mothers that I decided to choose is Lindsay Clancy and Michelle Blair. I am currently pregnant, and I'm 4 months pregnant, and I found out it's a girl today, so that's pretty exciting. Um, and so I can't fathom anybody who would want to kill their kids. Uh, Now, as somebody who has suffered from depression, my depression is not to the severity of these ladies. It is alleged that they both suffered from depression. It's also alleged that one is schizophrenic, Michelle. Lindsay was suffering with a severe case of postpartum depression of her 3 children. So much so that her husband, Patrick, decided to work in the home to kind of monitor it. It is also alleged that her insurance would not cover treatment for her postpartum depression, which led her to her children. In a 25-minute span, she also tried to off herself, and now she's a paraplegic who's on trial. These two ladies have very similar situations when it comes to the murder of their children, but very different class status. Michelle, who was extremely poor, was trying to raise her 4 children, was a victim of sexual assault. She noticed that her youngest son was acting in a way that seemed as if he had been sexually assaulted. There is no confirmation of this. They just say like it was a psychotic break, and she alleged that she witnessed it, or some of his behavior alleged that he had been sexually assaulted by his siblings. The child in question of the sexual assault never admitted that he had been or confirmed that it was true. It's just something that he said was true to avoid punishment, because Michelle loved to torture her children, like would burn them with cigarettes, would not feed them. She would switch in the drop of a hat. It's not said that Lindsay like mistreated her children during that time, but she did do research so it is premeditated murder to her children, because she did research ways to try to off them before she took their life by strangulation. She had sent her husband, Lindsay sent her husband to go pick out takeout, but remember, he was working from the home to keep an eye on her. So red flag should have went off to Mr. Patrick, but he didn't think anything of it. He was like, oh, she's just tired of cooking. She don't want to cook. No, she had a plan. She wanted to take out your children, and she did. It's so sad. But yeah, I don't know. My hormones are raising, so it like makes me cry, but like I was still interested in this Dateline with Ramaya. And so after she strangled her kids in the basement, she jumped from the window. She was still alive. Her husband found her. He has since forgiven her for her acts of taking the lives of his children, which is a brave man, because forgiving someone who like murdered your children, it's kind of hard. I don't know if I could forgive myself if I did that, or if I knew somebody who had. But you know, I'm not in that situation, so I can't speak for that fella there. One of the main things that I really wanted to touch on is that most criminals are depressed or have mental health issues that is not addressed or taken care of. They're not on medicine for. There are not enough programs, I believe, personally, that allow people to seek the treatment that they need, or they can't afford it. I work for the state, And luckily, I get free healthcare. But if I didn't have free healthcare, then I wouldn't be able to get the treatment or the help that I needed. So I kind of sympathize with those who don't have access to healthcare or mental health treatment that they need. It is vital. It is very important. I know that my doctor, she did mention like there are treatments. These are places that you can reach out if you're having some type of postpartum issue or you need to talk to somebody. And this was on my second visit there, so I'm not sure if these ladies receive that same type of information. But had they, maybe this could have been avoided. Who's to say? In Michelle's case, she was extremely poor, and after the incident, she tortured her daughter. Well, tortured her son first, tortured one of her sons, and like burned his genitals with water. I don't want to go into the grotesque details, but there was a string of torturing going on, and then she ended up putting him in the freezer. And then same thing happened to her daughter, who she alleged sexually assaulted, the same child that was alleged sexually assaulted by the first son that she killed. And so she put her daughter in the freezer. And these children were in the freezer for up to 3 years. Like, and the only reason they found out that her children were in the freezer is because she was living at a friend's house and she was evicted. And so they were going to serve her the eviction paperwork. And when they were cleaning out the place, they found a freezer. She had the deep freezer in the living room. And her other 2 children who she kept alive, they would walk past it. Like, this was an everyday occurrence. Like, oh, they're just chilling in the... That's not... They were just chilling in the freezer in the living room living their day-to-day lives. She had took them out of school, which in Michigan, they can do. Who knew? I don't think you can do that in Texas because they'll serve your butt with the truancy paperwork so fast. Don't ask me how I know. But, yeah, they were just in the freezer, and how they found out is the eviction paperwork was served. They went over there, knocked on the door, and then when they were trying to clean out the place, the freezer was too heavy. They wanted to empty out the things that were in there, and then they found a body, and then when they took out the one body, they found another body, and yeah. So, if you want to do more research, I suggest that you search Lindsay Clancy and Michelle Blair to go into the details of, like, do a deep dive like I did. I just kind of touched the surface with these 2 ladies. They have really interesting interviews for sure with Michelle. So, yeah, that's my podcast. Welcome back to Dateline. Well, we'll see you on another episode of Mothers Who Murder.